Oh, welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Balls on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Oh, man, another day, another dollar, and another day gone without the SEC figuring out what the hell they're going to do with this schedule.
8, 9, 2. We don't know what number they're going to come out with, you know? They're forming their little alliances. It's like Survivor Island in there. I can only imagine. You know, they got their all little camps and they're trying to backstab each other. But, hey, buddy, yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. One of my favorite tweets was the one you sent out. What's holding them up with some of these non-conference games, and you're going through them, and you're like, Mercer, come on now. You know, is this really what's holding us from 9? Because I'm sure we could get one little deal and take care of all of them.
Right. So I'm glad you said that. I'm going to get to that in just a second, Shay. But just a latest update. The update, unfortunately, is there is no update. They've not decided on the schedule. They've not decided whether to drop Power 5 requirement for a non-conference game. So basically it's just a bunch of hemming and hawing and all this down there. And the latest comes, and this just, to me, Shane, this is excuses for why they're not getting shit done. Florida AD, Scott Strickland, this comes courtesy of Matt Baker, friend of the show, Tampa Bay Times. The Florida AD says, hey, we all have these non-conference contracts for 2024, which makes me think that this 9-game schedule may not be feasible, at least for this first year. It would be challenging for us. And just like Shane said, so I have compiled some of these games. These are real games. These are games on the schedule in the SEC for 2024. And I understand we don't want every SEC team to go through a murderer's row. I'm not suggesting that. But my God, Shane, by the end of the week, we could have these games pushed, bought out. Any number of factors. This could very easily be done. I'm going to run down the list. Every SEC team has got one of these damn games. Alabama versus Mercer.
Ooh, there it is.
Arkansas versus Arkansas Pine Bluff. I don't even know, what division that is. Florida versus Samford. Again, not Stanford, Samford. Georgia versus Tennessee Tech. Georgia, you just won 2 championships. We got to quit with these games here. My God. Kentucky facing Murray State. Also, Missouri facing Murray State. Murray State, they got a tougher schedule than half these damn SEC teams.
What about Kirby? 8, 9, that's the biggest waste of time. You got Tennessee Tech hovering around on your schedule. Get out of here, Kirby.
We got Ole Miss playing Furman. Come on now. Mississippi State playing Eastern Kentucky. South Carolina's playing Old Dominion. They have football at Old Dominion. I couldn't tell you where that's even located.
It's a truck stop, I believe. They do transportation on the weekends.
Tennessee's playing Chattanooga. Texas A&M's playing McNeese. And Vanderbilt's got Norfolk State. Wherever the hell that is.
Norfolk State. Virginia, right?
I assume, Shane, but it don't matter because this is a joke. You don't hide behind we got these Power 5 or we got these non-conference games we can't get out of. Like I said, by the end of the week, all these games we could pay these teams off. We could push it to another year. Any number of things can happen.
Absolutely.
And they just don't want to do it.
Well, no, that's exactly it, man. I think of Heupel, Tennessee. They didn't want to play Army. What'd they do? They just paid them off, moved it, got rid of it, moved to a different game. That's what you do here. These are money games anyway. You're just basically donating to these programs which again, there's some people that come out and they talk about, hey, we need these games because it helps our athletic department and all that. But that's not the SEC's job. The SEC job is not to make sure that Norfolk has a football program. Our job is not to keep Chattanooga with uniforms. Our job is to build the best conference in the country and stay ahead of everyone. So if that requires dropping these games, spend a little money up front, these programs will have no problems doing that. So you can't use that as an excuse. Just like Eli coming out here the other day saying, well, these guys, don't use the excuse, we want to play, at every stadium. These kids aren't staying for 4 years. You can't say stuff like that and then off the other side of your mouth saying, well, these games are important. They're not important. They're really not. They're just fillers. They're easy wins, and they easily can be removed from the schedule. So don't let that be the reason. There's obviously some reasons why we're not going to 9 immediately, but don't let this be the excuse.
Right. Yeah. They're just searching at this point,
Yeah.
Shane, and when's
the last day?
Reasons.
When's the last day of when does this conclude? Is it till Friday or
Friday? So, and they do not have to vote, but if a vote takes place, it will take place on Friday, and they'll come out at the conclusion of it and say what they've done. And for the last 2 years, what have you, they've said, well, we're pushing for more time. And again, time is running out. We got Oklahoma and Texas coming in. I understand the logic, Shane, of some of these guys saying, well, how does this all work with the playoffs is expanding? We don't know how the playoff committee is, yada, yada, yada. I mean, this is all garbage. Again, Nick Saban saying we don't want to play Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn every year. Well, hell, you play those teams every year anyway.
Yeah.
And more often than not, you dominate them. Mm-hmm. So let's not cry about this because, and here's the other thing, Shane. If Alabama catches Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn every year, which some people, maybe you do look around and say, well, that ain't fair because, Kentucky's got so-and-so and so or what have you. The other way to look at it, Shane, is Alabama's also going to catch Vanderbilt more.
Yeah.
They're going to catch Kentucky more. They're going to catch Missouri more because the divisions are going away. So your 3 may look daunting, but instead of just playing the entire murderer's row that is the SEC West, we're mixing in some East teams, and you're dropping an A&M. You don't have to go to College Station this year. You don't have to go to Fayetteville this year, and on and on and on. That's just an excuse.
I'm with you. And it's funny. It's like, okay, so let's drop LSU so that we can play them next year. Because guess what? You're going to play them every other year. So it's not like, it may help you one season, but LSU's had some bad years. They've had some down years that you would like to have LSU on the schedule. So, I think this is crazy talk. You look in a 10, 15, 20-year window. We're talking, what does it look like 20 years from now? Who knows? Arkansas may be the biggest, baddest dude in town and nobody wants to go to. And then at that point, you're looking at Arkansas schedules. Well, it's not fair that they're playing so it's like, get out of here with that nonsense.
Right. Well, speaking of Arkansas, Shay, we got comments from Sam Pittman, the only one we got comments from on this show down there in Destin at the spring meetings. And he was asked his thoughts, 8 games, 9 games. He came into it open to 9, but he explains why he's kind of leaning towards 8. And again, it makes sense, but again, I don't necessarily favor it.
I think the easier thing to do is keep it at 8. It's not broke. We're winning national championships in our league, playing a good non-conference schedule. I think obviously you'd have to figure out if you're going to play a Power 5 team or not. If you went to 9, I think the schedule would be good for either one, 8 or 9, because you're going to go home and home in a four-year period. So I don't know what it's going to come down to, but I anticipate it's going to be another 3 or 4 days, and they'll probably figure it all out. I really don't have a preference right now. I wanted the 9, but I've kind of changed my mind. I don't think it really matters.
If you played the 9-game schedule, would the SEC still say you have to play another Power 5 team? Would that still be on the table?
As of right now, it's still on the table whether they would say you'd have another one. And if you look at it, with our league, if you added another game, you're also adding 8 more losses in the league. And that's not to say we can't get beat by somebody outside the league, but you're guaranteeing 8 more losses in the league. And will that hurt us? Probably not as bad because they're going to expand the playoffs, so probably not as bad. But one of the compelling arguments was that it's not broke. We're playing 8 right now. Now we are going to end up being a total SEC and not a West and an East. But we're playing for the title right now, and so I don't know what they're going to do. But whatever it is, we'll be fine with it. I just wanted the kids the opportunity and the fans to go to Tennessee, and Tennessee come here in a 4-year season, or go to Georgia and Georgia come here in a 4-year. I think it's good for the game.
What changed your tune a little bit? You said you came in thinking 9, and now you're coming out thinking 8.
Well, no, not necessarily. I think there was some good talk about both of them, 8 and 9. But the one that hit me was, it's not broke. We're Georgia's won it the last 2 years. I believe Alabama maybe before that, and so that made a lot of sense to me. But they're changing everything. It's not the West and the East anymore. So now you're going to have a little bit more equality off of past records. So I guess it all just depends on who you like in your pod. If you had a 4-team pod and you like, and I think it's going to be a little bit of proximity, and like I believe we'd play Texas, because that'd bring back that rivalry, probably Missouri, and then whomever, maybe Ole Miss or somebody, and I like that. Me personally, I like that schedule. I don't know if I'd want to play a whole bunch of Power 5 teams after playing a 9-game SEC. We played 10, 2-3 years, my first year, and I was looking for them other 3. Where are they? They never showed up.
All right, Shay. So, hey, Pittman, speaking from experience, running the gauntlet, I understand what he's saying. Yes, SEC's won 4 national championships in a row, probably going to win a 5th championship in a row with the current format, and I understand that, but I don't know, Shane. I mean, we're the biggest, we're the baddest, and all this. Go out there and prove it on the field.
I agree, Mike, and I think another thing too is our mind is going to change. For the longest time, it's like you go back to the BC era. It's like if you don't have an undefeated season, there's no way you're going to a national championship. And even then, Auburn, I'm talking to you. You sometimes you didn't get it. So it feels like our minds kind of shifted when we got into an SEC. More teams. We got the SEC championships and whatnot. Then you're like, okay, well, we can honestly, and there's been plenty of opportunities or times that we've made like an argument that a 2-loss SEC team should be in the college football playoffs, and it was right there on the bubble. Hasn't quite happened yet. I don't think it has happened yet, but it could have. And I say all that to say this, Mike, is our minds are going to change again when we go to a 9-game. Even though, yes, Arkansas may lose a few more than usual. A Tennessee team, may lose 2 games and still have an opportunity. You got 12 teams going to the college football playoffs. You're going to have opportunities. So the way you think of losing in the SEC is going to be different than having to win. And now a lot of people, that was their argument, was they didn't want, to lose the passionate and the pressure of a perfect season. But brother, if it's in a gauntlet of SEC, some losses won't hurt as bad moving forward. So we're just gonna have to readjust, man, and it's gonna take some. If it ain't broken, it is broke. We are fixing it. We got 2 more teams coming in, so you have to prepare for that.
And then Pittman, one other short clip here, Shane. I mean, this was gold right here. What do players care more about, NIL or the facilities? Pittman's telling it like it is here.
Sam, how important are facilities now in terms of recruiting? For a long time, that was the arms race, but now NIL's thrown a different wrinkle the last year or two.
I'd say if you got enough money, they'd be happy living in the tent, but...
All right, so I mean, perfect answer there from Sam Pittman. He's exactly right. For a while, Shane, I mean, they still do. They still throw money at facilities and stuff, but I mean, they were doing that for a while just because they had to spend all this damn money they were taking in. And I don't think it matters hardly at all for most players.
Not anymore, Mike. Not anymore. It used to be the thing. I mean, you think the 90s, early 2000s, it was the rush, the mad rush to build the nicest, biggest, baddest facilities, and now it's about my bank account. What can you do for me individually, not as a group? So, times are definitely a change in there.
Yeah. Well, Shane, and a big reason why I want to get to this 9 game, because I want to see Texas. I want to see Texas A&M meet on the field every season, and we may not get that. Hopefully we will. We'll see. But this is just a perfect example, Shane, of how heated this damn rivalry is. And they haven't even played since 2011. The Texas AD, Chris Del Conte, says Texas favors a 9-game SEC schedule. But after Ross Bjork, the A&M AD, came out and said, oh, yeah, once again, first game's going to be in College Station, even though the last time they played was in College Station. Del Conte, the Texas AD, says, Greg Sankey said nothing of the sort to me. So, I mean, they can't even agree where the hell this damn game's going to be played. They're fighting in the streets here, or fighting down at the beach down here in Destin. And, man, I'm so tired of the talking and the tweeting and everywhere you go, you know, Texags, all those people, they do a hell of a job. The Orange Bloods, Texas people, they do a hell of a job. But it's just them bickering for a damn decade here. I want to see these two on the gridiron.
Mike, I don't care where it's at. It can be in a Walmart parking lot, brother, as long as we get to watch it the first time. So I'm pumped up for this matchup, and that's one of those reasons. You know, every time you see it, and maybe I don't understand the passion as much as, you know, some of those guys. Easily I don't. I mean, I wasn't there. But every Texas tweet that's ever come out of our podcast has been about 15 A&Ms with their horns down. You know, it's they absolutely hate each other, and I cannot wait to see this first matchup. They should make a special day for it. Opening of the season, I don't care. Do it in July 4th with fireworks going on in the background. Let these two teams duke it out. It's going to be billed as a championship football game, man. So I can't wait to see it when it happens.
Yeah. And speaking of A&M and Jimbo, we had to play this real quick. Lane Kiffin, I forgot I had this quote in my back pocket here, but any chance, I mean, you talk about any opportunity to throw Jimbo under the bus, Lane Kiffin is going to take it, and he did it down here in Destin with all the success the Aggies are having on the recruiting trail.
I struggle letting it go on those things. My SID tells me to let it go, but when someone says that NIL has nothing to do with why someone signs at their place and they sign the best class in the history of recruiting, I struggle with that statement.
All right, Shade. So like I said, I mean, he's not going to miss an opportunity, and particularly when he lost a quarterback to the Aggies here at the I remember all that. There was NIL allegations and all that. So, I mean, it is what it is, but certainly Lane Kiffin not too happy about it.
Yeah, Lane sending out pictures of the beach and pictures of the ocean and thinking of new ways to piss Jimbo Fisher off. So I saw Eli on Feinbaum trying to make up for that, because that's the problem. Sometimes you take a tweet or a message and you clip it down to a certain point and you kind of lose exactly what. That's why we wanted to play the full clips of Eli yesterday, but I felt him a little bit on the defense today, Mike.
Oh yeah, because people run with the first tweet, and that just goes wild, and corrections are made, and no one pays a damn attention to it. So that's the world we live in, unfortunately. You know what?
My uncle's orthopedic surgeon. He saves lives. He still makes more money than I do.
All right, Shane, hey, some exciting news here. We officially got the first 3 weeks of the SEC season. We got the kickoffs. We got the television coverage. So, I mean, this is when you know it's real.
Yeah. Season
is right around the corner. You ready to run down some of these kickoff times?
You talking schedules? Yeah, let's see them.
All right, so we already knew this, Shane, but, obviously Thursday, August 31st, not the week 0 game, is Hawaii Vanderbilt, of course. 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. But the Week 1 games, South Dakota at Missouri, under the lights, 7 o'clock Central on SEC Network. So Mizzou fans got to get fired up for Thursday night football. Same deal, unfortunately, same time. So we're gonna have to split screen it at my house, Shane. Florida at Utah, also 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Ooh, man, that's gonna be a good one.
Dude, can you wait? I mean, just those two games when they're on 31st. Like you said, I'm redoing the pod studio, so hopefully by the time season kicks off, we'll have that squared up. But I've taken a chapter out of your book, Mike. I'm going to have me about 4 TVs in there, so I cannot. So I'll make sure I don't miss any of this action. I can't wait to have these two games on.
Oh yeah, and then Saturday, the Week 1 action. Shane, Ball State at Kentucky, noon Eastern, 11 Central on SEC Network. How about this? Well, Tennessee fans, I'm already hearing they're upset. They're always upset, Shane. Virginia at Tennessee, noon Eastern, 11 Central, at nationally televised, though, ABC. How do you feel about the Vols, Shane, playing 11 o'clock local time to start their season?
I'm not too happy about that, Mike. I'm not a nooner kind of guy. This is one I'd like to see at night, but again, neutral site, so I get it. What is the day on this one again? It's during the week, right?
No, Saturday, September 2nd.
Okay, I thought they moved it up for some reason. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, I get to watch football before everybody else. So you know what? I can spin the noon game. You know what I'm saying? You have to wait till 7. I can watch our ass beating it at noon. So you go ahead.
Yep. And then how about this one, Shane? Mercer at Ole Miss. That's going to be 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 Central on the plus. This is one of those plusers they throw on there. UMass at Auburn. How about this, Shane? Hugh Freeze debut, nationally televised by ESPN, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30. So it's the CBS time slot. It's just not CBS quality. UMass at Auburn.
Yeah. So, well, did you say UMass or Mercer?
This is UMass. Mercer is Ole Miss.
Mercer at Ole. Okay, when's that one? What time's that one?
2 Eastern.
Okay, because maybe last time we get to see Mercer. So, if you're a fan.
And we got Western Carolina, Shane, playing at Auburn, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central. That's another ESPN Plus matchup.
I didn't realize there were so many Carolina. Wait, never mind. I'm thinking Kentucky. You ever seen? I saw a guy with a Northern Kentucky. I didn't even know that was a thing. You know, I said, "Where's that at?"
NKU, huh?
Yeah, Covington, right there by Cincinnati is where it's at. So I've been in the area. I didn't know there was a school up there, but so apparently they got northeast, west. They got them all up there. A lot of schooling going on in Kentucky. Surprising. That's a stat I didn't expect to hear.
As soon as Kirby finds out about that school, Shane, they're on the fucking Georgia schedule.
Put them on the board.
Western Carolina at Arkansas, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central. Southeast Louisiana at Mississippi State, 4 Eastern, 3 Central, SEC Network. So Zach Arnett debut, nationally televised. Yeah. UT Martin at Georgia, 6 Eastern, 5 Central. ESPN Plus, though, man, how are you going to do the champs like that? Put them on the Plus network. You know what?
God, you shouldn't even put them on TV, Mike. This thing's going to be over in 4 minutes. You could roll out the 4th. We could figure. We're going to get to see all 4 quarterbacks during this one here. So,
but how about this? This gives you an idea of what the slate is like week 1. Shane, New Mexico at Texas A&M, nationally televised, ESPN, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. So, I mean, it's going to be great to see this Bobby Petrino offense, but it's kind of surprising we couldn't get a better matchup than New Mexico A&M nationally televised.
Yeah, no, I think, but again, it's still a little scary as an Aggie fan. You know, if you're following the Aggies, you're like, well, it's the same thing we said about App State and saw how that one turned out. So, no, this one, any games is a little bit nerve-wracking, but it is a good opportunity to really break in that offense. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Alabama, A&M, Shane, at Vanderbilt, 7 Eastern, 6 Central on the ESPN Plus. MTSU at Bama, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central,
Yeah.
SEC Network. And how about this? Apparently, Shane, they're thinking this is going to be potentially the game of the week. We don't necessarily agree or anything, but North Carolina, South Carolina in Charlotte, 7:30 p.m., 6:30 Central on ABC, so nationally televised. There's going to be a lot of eyes on Shane Beamer and company in that opener against Mac Brown and North Carolina.
Yeah, no, I think this really could be a good game. I don't think it's going to be as close as some of the experts say. I think I don't want to tip my hat, but I think them Gamecocks beat the shit out of them. But I think that this is going to be built up the closer that we get to it, and especially because of Sam. I mean, we all know what this is. It's going to be quarterback. They're going to shape this up as two heavy hitters going at each other. So should be a fun matchup. I hate that it's in Charlotte, but it still will be a good game.
And we've already had this one announced, Shane, but we got to mention it. Sunday, September 3rd, LSU, Florida State, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, ABC. Man, and remember, there's no NFL at this time, so all eyes are going to be on it, just like last year. And remember, we had some fun with Brian Kelly being LSU was the only team that lost week one, but it came down to a damn extra point. You know what?
And they're going to tout it up again. And Florida, there's going to be a lot of people on that Florida State bandwagon coming in here. But I think O'Brien's had a couple sleepless nights over this game. He'd love to have a couple do-overs. So I'd like to see what's up his sleeve during this matchup. And like you said, all eyes will be on this game.
Mm-hmm. All right, Saturday, week 2, September 9th. All the games are on Saturday. Normal week of football here, Shane. But some interesting games. Still in the non-conference land, but Austin Peay at Tennessee. Such a great game, Shane. They don't even have a kickoff time. This is the only one on the schedule, but I'm assuming it's going to be a nooner. That seems like a safe assumption, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be a noon game. That'll be an early one. Get the kids out to that one.
Vanderbilt
I think Joe Milton could throw it to Austin Peay from Neyland. I don't know if that's possible, but he's got a hell of a cannon on him.
Vanderbilt at Wake Forest, Shane. Interesting time. 10 a.m. Central,
What?
11 Eastern.
Is that even allowed?
I didn't think so, but on ACC Network, maybe that's an ACC deal there, but that's pretty wild, isn't it?
I don't even. You sure that's right? That doesn't seem like that.
I mean,
should
I'm
be
looking at the
allowed.
ESPN website right now. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
Lee
what
Corso and them going to be
say.
talking why they're kicked off over there. So that doesn't make sense. But hey, ACC's got to do what they can to get some eyes on their ball game. So that's what you do. You start having them before noon.
We will have a nooner in the SEC, Shane. Ball State at Georgia, noon Eastern time on SEC Network. Now the action, we got Eastern Kentucky versus regular Kentucky, the good Kentucky, 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 Central on ESPN+. How about this one, Shane? This is going to be a big one. Texas A&M at Miami, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on ABC. Again, this is a crossroads game for both of them.
You ain't got announcers yet, do you?
No, sir. I don't believe they've announced that yet.
Yeah, no. I think that's going to be such a fun game. I really do. That's that. We're going to find out if the Aggies are legit or not during that matchup. Can't wait for that one.
Right, and then we can't overlook this one either, Shane. Ole Miss at Tulane. Again, remember Tulane had a hell of a year last year. 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on ESPN2. So they're getting the national televised treatment as well. Kent State at Arkansas, 4 Eastern, 3 Central on SEC Network. The big one, Shane, Texas at Alabama, 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN.
Night game. Come on now.
Ooh, buddy.
I thought that would be an earlier game, so I am pleasantly surprised there. I think a night matchup would be ideal for the Crimson Tide here. That place is going to be absolutely rocking.
Yeah. Texas, they won't know what's
Welcome to the SEC. Last time they did that, man, they got their ass beat in Arkansas. So, let's see how this plays out.
MTSU at Missouri, Shane, 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN+. Plus.
Mm-hmm.
McNeese all over the board here.
Jeez,
at Florida, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPNU. Will you watch that one? Okay. Grambling.
Let me hold the dollar, McNeese. Come on. I go to McDonald's.
Grambling at LSU, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona at Mississippi State. Interesting matchup, Shane. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on the SEC Network. Furman at South Carolina. That's a short drive. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, ESPN Plus. Night.
Furman
Gotta
at?
love. It's in South Carolina.
Well, I assume you said short drive. I'm kind of alarmed you knew exactly where it's at. So, I mean, I've seen some shirts and stuff, but I didn't know exactly where it's located.
Only school to offer me a scholarship. No,
Was it?
I don't think I'm good enough to even get in there. And then how about? Oh man, this is going to be wild, Shane. You never know what you're going to get with Hugh Freeze and company. You never know what you're going to get when an SEC school travels out west. But this is, wild stuff here. Auburn at Cal, 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central on ESPN. So they're getting the most out of it. Nationally televised. The only upside, we shouldn't even say this on this show, Shane, because we're such SEC homers. But if you lose it, I don't know if Asia's going to be up to even know till the next day. So at least you got that going for you.
Absolutely. You allowed to go to California? I didn't even know that was.
All right, final one we got here, Shane. Week 3. Now we're cooking because we got some SEC games here, Shane. Saturday, September 16th. Of course, we've already got it announced. South Carolina at Georgia is going to be the CBS game, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. We do have one that's TBD still, Shane. Vanderbilt at UNLV. So that'll be interesting. We don't know the kickoff time, but have to imagine that'll probably be an evening one because it is close to the West Coast. But here we go, Shane. Now we're getting into the meat of this is what we're here for. LSU at Mississippi State, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. That's a big break for LSU, but nationally televised right after college game day. Man, I'd be pretty pissed off on Zach Arnett, Mississippi State. You wanted that night game for LSU.
Yeah, I think you did, but I don't know. Sometimes you don't. I mean, if I'm playing LSU, I want it at noon. My example there, Tennessee LSU, it seems like it was kind of a
right, but that was in Death Valley.
Well, true.
So I'm saying
yeah,
Mississippi State, you want the Bills. I mean, those fans will still be hungover from the night before. You know what?
Yeah, but then again, it's still you make it a bigger game when it's at night. I don't know. I'm kind of impartial. I think people look at this one a little bit different than I do. I think if I'm an underdog, I'd like to play them earlier. Maybe you do catch them off guard or kind of looking ahead or something like that. So. But maybe you're right. Maybe a night game. I mean, cowbells are still going to be ringing, buddy. It don't matter what time it is. That place is still going to be jumping. But I don't know. It feels like me personally, if I'm going to play LSU, getting them in early, I think is better. But obviously, if you could make this a game, maybe even win the game, doing it at night would have been freaking phenomenal. So, yeah, I guess you could go either way there.
Well, then I guess you'll have the same opinion here, Shane, because your Missouri Tigers hosting Kansas State. That's another noon kickoff, 11 Central on SEC Network. I would have preferred Columbia night crowd, but again, maybe there's something to like you're saying, because I don't know who will be favored in that game, but it'll be a fairly tight spread, I have to imagine. Kansas State at Missouri.
Yeah, kind of surprised. Kansas State got a lot of love last year, national attention and stuff going into that championship game. Maybe they could have, made a little bit more action out of this playing it later. But no, I'm with you. Same concept here. If you feel like you're going to be an underdog, I want to play you early. So I think this is going to be a really good showdown and something that you couldn't watch early. So you're not, sometimes these games later in the days, it feels like they get lost in the shuffle with some of the other primetime games.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Alabama at South Florida. Still can't believe they agreed to this one. 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, nationally televised. ABC, South Florida, nationally televised. What are we doing here?
That's what happens. You almost beat Florida. You get a little national attention for a while.
Yeah, Louisiana Monroe at Texas A&M, Shane, 4 Eastern, 3 Central, SEC Network. Samford at Auburn. Samford, so they're all over this schedule here. 7 Eastern, 6 Central, ESPN Plus. And now the one you've been waiting for, you big Tennessee homer. Tennessee at Florida. 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN. That's going to be a huge matchup right there.
Let's go to that one. Let's go down there. Can we go to that? I've not been to the Swamp. I had an opportunity to go down there. Glad I didn't because we got our ass beat. But, now it feels like this is a good time to go. It's like if you're going to go to the Swamp, now's the time before Billy starts bringing any more of these damn classes down there,
Oh, yeah. And Arkansas, they also get a night game. Good for them, Shane. SEC, I thought they prohibited Arkansas from playing at night for some reason. BYU at Arkansas, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPN2. So another national showcase there for Sam Pittman and company. Akron at Kentucky, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPNU. And then the weekend ends, Georgia Tech at Ole Miss, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on the SEC Network. Man, we got us some football right around the corner. You know what?
That's it. And you're already starting to imagine what that football games are going to look like. It's like in your mind, you're like thinking about that Mississippi State LSU, for example, and now it's a nooners. You're like, okay, that's okay. We'll get them early. It's like, or you're thinking Florida, Tennessee confirmed at night. You're just like, all right, man. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. Now you're starting to put them games in your head. All the times you played Florida at night down there in the Swamp. You get a little worried a little bit. So it's like that's just the beauty of a scheduling is now you can start making some serious plans.
Do you think, Shane? I don't remember which coach this was. It was probably either Pruitt or Butch, but all during the off season, it'd be 80 degrees, whatever, what have you, in Knoxville. But next to that, they'd had another temperature, and it's 103 in Gainesville right now. Like getting them trained up for, of course, they just fell flat on their damn face, so it didn't work. But my question to you, do you think Heupel's got that same damn temperature in Gainesville clock down there, whatever?
Maybe. I mean, he did coach down there in Central Florida for a long time. He's probably very acclimated with the weather situation down there. So it is kind of funny. I don't know if I always like when they're preparing for these wild matchups, like they're going up to Colorado, and they're like, man, you ain't ready for this elevation difference. There's just no way to plan for it, And then you see some of them, they're like, we shut the doors, we crank the heat up, we're getting used to the heat. And like it's the same thing as Gainesville, So I don't know if there's going to be any of that going on, but it's football weather, baby. I was out there watching my girl play softball the other day, and they must have just fresh cut the grass or something like that. But sometimes you get that smell, and you're just like, it takes you back to high school football. You're getting ready to get out there and do gashers or something, So it's in the air. And now that it's getting warmer, it's getting hot, you're thinking about two-a-days, you're thinking about it's football time, baby. We're talking about it. We got the coaches down here meeting. We got the schedules starting to come out. Next thing you know, we're going to meet with the players. We're going to find out who's this, who's that, and we're less than I've been doing the countdown, man. We're less than 80 days, like 80-something days to SEC football, man. That's a little over 2 months, So I'm ready, brother.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for it. And, man, we're going to have you covered. We got media days coming up. We got continued guests coming into the studio. Every angle on this SEC football, Texas and Oklahoma included, we're going to have you covered on this show. But, brother, I appreciate you. You got anything else before we hop off the line?
No, it's getting late, Mike. You saw I put out a late walk yesterday. I'm putting out another late one today. Today I was a little procrastinating, but I'm going to get out there. We got meal prep, get ready for the new week. And I appreciate all the support. I see a lot of people out there walking, getting them steps in. So keep following us on the YouTube. If you ain't got on there and subscribed, that SEC podcast, be able to hit that, because as soon as Mike gets a video, he uploads it. And if you got your notifications on, you're notified immediately. It's crazy how technology works. But anyway, other than that, that's all I got, man. I'm going to get out here and walk before I get in trouble.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Are you going somewhere?
I got all the time in the world, man.
You got time for one more video?